Once upon a time in a faraway place. Hold on, scratch that. I'm afraid it's too cliche. But what if we went for cliche with something like, it was a dark and stormy night? Oh, right, it was meant to be a story during the day, and I'm sure we can manage that. But how will we without a whole once upon a time beginning? No, 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 we simply cannot use on a beautiful day. That is completely overused. But then again, once something is overused, people make an effort not to overuse it, and then people stop using it and it becomes rare. So I just have to wait until people make an effort to not overuse it. Oh dear, that will take too long. No, this is not a fairy tale. We will not end it with they lived happily ever after. Why are we even talking about the ending? Oh, because it is the ending.
Amazing. I love it. I love it. It's great. It was really fun. Um, so yeah, first of all, I'm really into the concept of that story. I think it kind of fits in line with the presentation we did last um, session, maybe several months ago on paradoxes and parables. It very much reminds me of something that Daniel Harms or Franz Kafka would write. So what that story does, what that sentence does is, well, first I'll talk about the story and then the sentence itself. The story begins with this cliched phrase "once upon a time," and then it proceeds to become so self-aware of itself as a story that it cannot move past its own introductory clause. And this is what the sentence does. The sentence is constantly correcting itself, revising itself, contradicting itself. I would say that the mode of the sentence is a thinking mode. So you're not, in other words, describing something. It's not like the Cormac McCarthy sentence that describes. It's not like the Henry James sentence that sets a scene or an atmosphere or moves us from one place to another and back again. I would probably place it closer to the Cervantes sentence, one which is kind of yeah, aware of itself, kind of in your case very self-critical, revising its own position constantly. It is a revisionary sentence. Um, it's very playful. It's very fun to see the voice of the story kind of undermining itself, correcting itself, contradicting itself, revising its own position. It is also meditation on cliches and how cliches are used. It's a meditation on trends. It's a meditation on language. I love also how the narrator of the story is a plural narrator, a self-described we. So it seems as if the reader is like kind of in on the game. Um, it is a story about beginning to write a story. In other words, it's a story about the mechanisms by which one begins to write a story, and also, more importantly than that, how one struggles to begin to write a story. It's really a story about the difficulty of coming up with a story out of nothing, out of thin air. It's not just a meditation on once upon a time, but also a dark and stormy night. But then, of course, the story was supposed to start in the day, so all this happened. I love the scratch that as well. Um, is I thought it was fantastic, Lena. I mean, really, I can't. I feel like I'm not accurately expressing my enthusiasm for that story. I really love it, and I think that you could take that story and do what you're doing like tenfold. I think you could like really push that story to the max, get even deeper into the kind of like the self-aware quality about beginning to write a story or struggling to begin to write a story. I thought it was really fantastic. It's also wonderful, and this is how I think of it as a kind of Harms or Kafka story. It it struggles to begin for so long that it just comes to the end and says, "Oh, like we've kind of run out of time. We've been thinking about beginning for so long that now we're out of time." So in that way, it's I relate to it as a writer, struggling to begin to write something for so long that you just run out of time. The story itself runs out of time. I love also how you juxtapose the long sentence with the short sentence. That's a very important technique actually that we should just highlight very quickly for all of you that are here with us today. One really effective way to use long sentences is to follow them up immediately with a very short sentence. can be a great pleasure for a reader to encounter something like that. Yeah, I thought it was really smart, very funny. I'm sensing, Lena, in your writing more and more of this kind of this kind of like playful, casual tone, one which seems to assume a kind of intimacy with the reader. So that story was very much of your style, I would say. I thought it was really great. It's the kind of thing I would definitely seek out to read. Thanks for reading it.